Yosemite National Park, a place of impossible beauty. Granite cliffs, silver rivers, air so thin it feels holy. But behind the postcard lies a pattern that refuses to fade. People walk in and never come back. The government says it's coincidence. The locals whisper another word: cursed. They call it the crown of the American wilderness, a temple carved by time, where sunlight pours down cathedral walls of stone and waterfalls descend like endless prayers. But beauty has a price, and in Yosemite, beauty watches. Every year, millions enter the park. Families, hikers, rangers. Most leave with photos, some with broken bones, and others with nothing at all. No footprints, no gear, no trace. Since the early 1900s, hundreds of people have vanished inside these mountains, swallowed by canyons, forests, and silence. Search parties find no evidence. Radios fail. Dogs lose the scent, as if the air itself swallows it. The official reports call them missing persons. But to those who've seen the way the park changes at dusk, how the granite glows like ember, how the sound of water drowns every voice, it feels like something older is moving here. Something that doesn't like to be found. Some say it's the terrain, cliffs that hide their dead. Others whisper of portals, of strange lights that dance between the pines. And a few believe the land itself is alive, that Yosemite chooses who stays and who disappears into its lungs of stone. Because when the wind moves through the valley, it doesn't sound like air. It sounds like breathing. This is not just a park. It's a predator made of granite and silence. A place that doesn't just take lives, it keeps them. Welcome to Yosemite National Park, the park that eats its own. If the answers aren't in the ground, maybe they're in the dark between the trees. The forest of theories. For more than half a century, Yosemite has been both a sanctuary and a question mark. A place where beauty and disappearance coexist in perfect, uneasy silence. And after so many vanishings, so many unanswered searches, the human mind did what it always does when faced with the impossible. It began to invent explanations, some logical, some terrifying. Because when nature refuses to give answers, we start looking to men and the things they hide. The government's shadow. The first theory is the simplest and perhaps the most human: a cover-up. Former rangers whisper about restricted areas, patches of land quietly fenced off, labeled research zone or rehabilitation site, with no records of who works there or why. Maps of Yosemite show smooth lines where roads should twist, blank squares where no terrain exists. Try to enter, and GPS freezes. Ask questions, and the answers vanish into bureaucratic fog. Some believe the US government knows what's happening, that it's testing something inside these mountains. New surveillance technologies, secret aircraft, or biological experiments gone wrong. Others think it's simpler. The authorities can't explain the disappearances, so they pretend the data doesn't exist. No database, no problem, no answers, no accountability. Even the National Park Service has quietly admitted that compiling a full list of missing persons would be impossible due to data inconsistencies. But to families of the lost, that sounds like an excuse or a warning. The forbidden zones. Among those who study the park's geography, there are areas known unofficially as dead sectors, canyons where radio and satellite signals collapse, valleys that distort compass readings, cliffs that seem to warp perspective. Pilots call them black air. Hikers call them the places you don't go. Default text. Maybe these are electromagnetic pockets. Maybe the Earth folds in small ways we don't yet understand. Or maybe there are places in Yosemite where the world is thinner and something else looks back through the cracks. The rational answers. Skeptics, of course, point to the tangible. They say Yosemite is not haunted, it's hostile. It's a wilderness built from vertical granite, hidden crevices, flash floods, and sheer cliffs waiting for one wrong step. People die here every year, from falls, exhaustion, exposure, animals, or simply bad luck. Fog rises suddenly, temperature drops without warning, and echoing sound makes directions useless. A single misjudgment can send even an expert hiker off course. And in terrain this vast, a missing person can lie unseen just meters away. Some scientists propose that Yosemite creates a form of environmental hypnosis. The combination of altitude, low oxygen, vast silence, and magnetic disturbance disorients the brain, distorting time, direction, even decision-making. Under such pressure, people walk in circles, remove clothing, abandon shoes, or climb impossible slopes in confusion. It's not the supernatural. It's psychology against wilderness. And yet, even this logic begins to crack when you hear the details. Bodies in impossible places. Rescuers have found remains where logic collapses. Victims discovered miles from where they vanished, often on steep cliffs or mountaintops no injured person could reach. Some found barefoot, their clothes neatly folded or scattered as if placed. Others lying in snow with no signs of struggle, no trace of hypothermia. One body was located 12 miles uphill from the last known sighting. Barefoot, with no cuts on the soles. Another was found days later, dry and clean, despite days of storms. No tracks led in. No tracks led out. The reports try to make sense of it. Panic, exhaustion, paradoxical undressing, hallucination. But the words feel small compared to the weight of the silence surrounding them. If these are accidents, why are they always the same kind of impossible? The thin line. Between worlds, every theory stands in the same light, casting the same shadow. Either something is happening that science can't yet explain, or nothing is happening, and the human mind is inventing monsters to fill the void. Maybe the electromagnetic fields scramble perception. Maybe the air itself vibrates at a frequency that alters time awareness. Maybe the mountains hypnotize, or maybe they hunt. The truth lives somewhere between physics and folklore, in that borderland where reason loses gravity and fear finds its language. The silence as answer. After decades of searching, Polides himself stopped offering explanations. He simply points to the data and asks the same question every investigator eventually whispers: why does it keep happening in the same places? The silence never replies. The trees stand motionless, and the granite seems to breathe. Slow, patient, eternal. Perhaps the answers aren't buried in the soil, or hidden in archives, or locked in government vaults. Perhaps they exist only in that quiet hum beneath the forest floor, where electricity meets myth. Because some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, they're meant to be felt. Closing beat for Chapter 5. In Yosemite, explanations crumble like stone. Government cover-ups, alien portals, natural disasters, madness, fatigue. Every theory stands for a moment, then vanishes into the same fog. Maybe the truth is simple: the wilderness is too old to care about our logic. Or maybe it's crueler than that. Maybe the park has always known we'd come looking for meaning, and that the search itself is the trap. If the answers aren't in the ground, maybe they're in the dark between the trees. Because somewhere between reason and fear, the forest keeps what it loves most: silence. Maybe they were lost. Maybe they were taken. Maybe Yosemite isn't just a park, but a mirror. One that reflects the part of us that still fears the dark. The names change. The stories repeat. A child chasing a butterfly. A hiker stopping for a photograph. A rescuer following a voice in the fog. And then, nothing. No footprints. No struggle. No goodbye. The files say missing, but the word feels too small. Because what vanishes in Yosemite isn't just people. It's explanation itself. The pattern of absence. From Dennis Martin in the Smokies to Stacey Arris in Yosemite. From footprints that end mid-trail to search dogs frozen in fear. The pattern never stops. Granite, water, storms, silence. Each disappearance folds into the next like chapters of the same ancient book. One the earth keeps writing while we pretend to understand. We've searched the cliffs, the rivers, the skies. We've blamed weather, predators, portals, the government, even God. But the truth remains somewhere between them all, in that thin, cold space where reason can't breathe. Because the real terror isn't what we find, it's what we don't. The human need for meaning. Maybe the vanishings are random. Maybe they're natural. But our minds reject chaos. We crave stories, symbols, monsters, anything that makes the darkness logical. Perhaps that's why we return to Yosemite year after year, knowing what it takes, knowing what it hides. Because deep down, we're drawn to mysteries that refuse to die. We look into the valley and see not danger, but reflection, a mirror of our own need to believe the world still has places that cannot be tamed or named. The silence that remains. When night falls over Yosemite, the granite turns black and the waterfalls whisper like distant voices. The air feels heavier. The forest holds its breath. And somewhere in that stillness, every unanswered question sleeps, waiting for another name, another story, another light to fade. Maybe they were lost. Maybe they were taken. Maybe Yosemite isn't a park at all, but a consciousness, a mirror reflecting the part of us that still fears the dark and still needs it. Because without the dark, there would be no mystery, and without mystery, there would be no wonder left to lose. Maybe they were lost. Maybe they were taken. Maybe Yosemite isn't just a park, but a mirror. One that reflects the part of us that still fears the dark. The search continues. The silence remains. The forest keeps its secrets,